The Alto wins. Why? It's not really a fair comparison. Hello everyone, this is Modeling with Variety, and today we're talking about these, the 30-minute missions Ground Type Alto by Bandai and the Frame Arms Werewolf Spectre by Kotobukiya. To see how the advancement of technologies and ideas made the 30mm absolutely better than the Frame Arms line of model kits. Let us start, shall we? Part 1. The models. First of all, how is it the 30mm is better than the Frame Arms? Well, Frame Arms started in 2009, almost 10 years before the 30-minute missions got released. So, it can be assumed that the 30mm would be better than the Frame Arms kits, right? True, but let's go a little deeper. Look at how much is one Alto compared to some of the more basic versions of the Frame Arms line. A basic Alto costs about 1,400 yen, and the Gorai, one of the first of the Frame Arms models, costs about 3,000 yen. Significantly higher than the Alto. Okay, I know that there is an architect frame being sold by Kotobukiya which is cheaper than the Alto, but the architect frame does not look complete by itself. No, it doesn't, while the Alto does. Well, at least in terms of being an MS with armor on it, rather than just being a naked frame. Next is overall build experience and quality. I was going into building these that the Werewolf Spectre was going to be a terrible time. But as I was building it, I said, wow, what's wrong with this thing? Why are people even mad at this? This thing is great! And had nothing but praise at that point. Though this doesn't mean that it does not have any faults objectively. The major problem is its inner frame. The thing is with this frame as of the writing of the script is not great. And that permeates throughout the model kit experience. Some parts are loose, it just feels inconsistent and fiddly throughout the model kit. The biggest problem here is this, the upper to leg pelvis connection of the frame. It just barely sits in there and just makes the whole model experience just that worse. I know this could be fixed with a little application of super glue or those fancy tightening tapes that you could buy, but the thing is, this is not present in the Alto whatsoever. It has tight joints, tighter to be expected to be honest. It has what it's advertised on the box, and it is solid as a rock. Or at least more solid than the Frame Arms here. There are problems with the Alto as well, such as those ball joints that are placed inside of the thigh for the joint, and that super tight upper arm joint. Even so, the Alto's build experience was just that so much better than the Werewolf Spectre, refreshing even, since I built these two in short succession. The Werewolf Spectre first, then the Alto. The Alto went together nicely and in no time at all. It just felt fuller, faster, and an overall more fluid build experience that just floors the Frame Arms in all aspects. The last part that the 30mm is better than the Frame Arms for me is availability. Yes, for me, availability is an important aspect because having available units for purchase at the moment's notice, especially when you need a few for a custom build, God forbid, an army build, is a make or break deal when it comes to it. And the 30mm has that over the Frame Arms in spades. Where I am from, normal Altos and Portanovas have been on sale and you could get them at below SRP. While the Frame Arms models are not really seen in retail stores, only at specialty shops such as hobby stores. And if you want a specific unit, and if they're not in stock, you are out of luck, since Kotobukiya doesn't really release specific Frame Arms models that often. All these problems that the Frame Arms, heck, Kotobukiya has from the build to the availability is, to be honest, totally forgivable. Part 2. Kotobukiya isn't Bandai. I mean, obviously, Kotobukiya isn't Bandai. Look at their names, branding, and overall style. As if it isn't obvious, right? Well, there's more to it than that. One is, most notably, their model kits. More specifically, what designs are they licensing to turn into model kits? Bandai often just turns its intellectual properties to model kits such as Gundam or 30mm since they do not have to pay for royalties for the designs, since they technically own those designs. Kotobukiya, on the other hand, makes models of designs that aren't even theirs. Most of them are just collaborations, such as Zoids in the high-end Master Model line, the Tamoto collection with Mario toys, and before Bandai took over the SRW OG line, Kotobukiya produced their model kits such as the Vice Ritter, Gespenst, and the Altaisen. This means that Kotobukiya must pay royalties to these franchises since Kotobukiya is using these franchises' designs for their model kits. Or maybe these franchises are paying Kotobukiya to make them model kits. Either way, that's one of the reasons why Kotobukiya's pricing and availability is high and few respectively. Another is that they are way smaller than Bandai. Like, compared to Bandai, they're almost tiny in comparison. How could I prove this? Who has a walking, quote-unquote, one-to-one scaled robot made for one of their franchises? Who has an entire section of a mall dedicated to their products? Who has another one-to-one scaled, quote-unquote, transforming robot that is an attraction mentioned as one of the sights to see in Japan? Yes, Bandai. If it isn't obvious by now. What does Kotobukiya have? A store. Few stores dedicated to itself. And inside isn't really all Kotobukiya products. Some are from different local companies that make stuffed toys, tiny trinkets, and collectibles such as those. That just tells me that Kotobukiya isn't really that big of a company, so they have to price their models accordingly. Another is that Bandai has a patent on its own injection molding process, which, as you might have guessed, is astonishingly efficient. Kotobukiya doesn't have access to this, and they must find their own way of producing models, which is consequently would reflect how they price their models along with the mix of plastic they use. And lastly, Kotobukiya's production isn't really as big as Bandai's. Bandai can and does produce, in terms of model kits, thousands of units of models every single run. And within those thousands of units, dozens of types of models, may it be HG models, MG models, or maybe even their Figures line of models. Kotobukiya, meanwhile, can just produce a handful of models per month, as per their release schedule posted on their website, with some that are highlighted as different kits. But they are just the same kits, with different loadouts or even extra loadouts, such as the Hexagear Lord Impulse Jungle type and the Megami Device Executioner Bride. Part 3. Why am I explaining all this? I wrote this script 3 times now, and the first 2 didn't really express how I felt about this subject. I came into this video project totally wanting to take an absolute dump at Kotobukiya for being one of the pricier model kit brands out there. But through my research, though kind of mediocre, showed me that this isn't the case. What I'm saying is that Kotobukiya, along with smaller brands such as Good Smile Company and even Wave, don't deserve that. And that is the aforementioned dump I was supposed to take on them. These companies are just doing their best producing the models that we love. They're even pushing boundaries with these models so that they could produce the best model kit representation of our favorite franchises' most notable mecha, cars, ships, heck, even characters. And as a modeler, I couldn't be more thankful. And that's about it. What do you think? I'd love to hear what you think, so leave your comments down below. Thank you for watching.